Hey everybody, it's Shawn Petite for Artist Gang Tuesday, and today we are altering a journal. So I am using a Canson journal. It's a 7.5 by 9, I believe. And we're going to do the front, the back, the insides, everything. I always alter my journals, so it's just so much fun. It's just such an expression. But we're going to be using several of Donna Downey's stencils and then some scrap papers, whatever you want to use, and then some matte medium. So first off, I took my 8 by 10 sheet of paper. And I'm actually putting a piece of wax paper behind to protect my other pages. But I took an 8 by 10 sheet of paper and I cut it in half because you want to have some overlap, about a 1/2 inch overlap. Cut it in half and then cut another strip of paper to fit in the middle so that would give me plenty of overlap. Then I took my matte medium and I covered that whole thing with matte medium. Just got it nice and wet with the matte medium just so that everything was going to be sealed and covered, and then covered the top and all of the overlapping edges. Your journal book cover may start to bend and warp a little bit, but once it dries, it flattens right out. So got that all covered with matte medium, and then hit it with my heat tool and let it dry. Now onto the inside. You can see how I've got an overlap there. We need to cut the corners so that it's all pretty when we fold it. So it's not just a square. You've got to angle out your corners just a tiny bit so that they fold over really nice. And then we'll get the matte medium down on there. And when you're doing this, make sure that you go over the edge, the lip of the journal book cover, and on the little flaps too. Make sure you got all the matte medium there because it just really seals it. That way nothing will come up with wear and that kind of thing. So put your matte medium down, fold those over, and then cover it with some more matte medium, and then put your 8 by 10 sheet down and cover that with matte medium. And this just gives it's sealed, it's ready for you to create on, and it really protects the book. So I'm taking some burnt umber and some glaze here because the book spine, that overlapping piece that I can't get into with my paper, is bright blue. I wanted to tone that down just a little bit, so I got in there with a small brush and just kind of aged it a little bit. And then I took a wide bristle brush and just dry brushed some Sea Breeze color craft paint on there just for some initial background. And then I took one of Donna's stencils, the mini numbers, I think it is, and used the leftover glaze, burnt umber glaze, and put that in. And then I took some quinacridone magenta golden fluid acrylic, which is so lovely, and this awesome oven mitt that I found in the grocery store that had such a cool texture on it. I use it a lot just for mark making and creating some additional texture. It's awesome. Took a little bit of gesso with my palette knife and just kind of did some swipes across there to create a little bit more texture and interest. Then I've got golden fluid acrylic, and it is phthalo blue. I put a little bit of white in there too to kind of lighten it up a little bit. And then I have the color outside the line stencil, and I have taped it off just so that I can use that middle part because I'm going to use another one of Donna's stencils. But this is another great example of making the stencils that you have work for every project. So I got that dry, and then I cut out a scrap piece of paper to lay down just to make sure, because I'm really messy, make sure I don't get any other paint on top of that I just stenciled. And then with Donna's, let's see, I think it's called brushes. Yep, brushes. I stenciled in with titanium black again, covering pretty much all of that book cover and journal cover actually, and getting all the way down around the edges. And then because the stencil is smaller than the actual book cover, I went back in to try and extend those brushes. Now, the way that the brushes are angled, it was a little difficult for me to get in there and get them just right. I tried a little bit. And then I gave up and I came back in. Well, I didn't give up yet. But I did give up and I came back in with just a brush and tried to lengthen some of those. Some I left short, and that's fine. It all looks great. So got that nice and dry, and then came back in with my charcoal pencil and just shaded, just to help the piece not look so flat. Now with my Crink markers, you see me use them all the time. They're some of my favorites. I go around the edges. They have such a lovely texture. They look like charcoal or crayon or wax, but I use the white and the black. Again, with that umber glaze, I just went back in and did the same thing there on the spine, around the wire, and around all of the edges, just to kind of age it and cover up that blue. Then with the circles stencil, Donna Downey stencil, and my finger and some gesso, I just rubbed in some circles, kind of messy. And then this is Donna Downey's Origin stencil. And I was having a hard time getting it to fit onto the book cover. So I kind of had to push it in there and be careful towards when it was going towards the spine to get a clean stencil. You can see it kept trying to push away, but I got it. And then I just kind of repeated the process with my Crink markers and my charcoal pencil. I added just a tiny bit of that sea breeze color in those circles, tie the two together. And there you have it, the front and the inside cover. And then I did the back side exactly the same exact process. I just didn't do all of the lettering. Make sure you dry spray your project with Krylon to seal it, and then put a varnish over the top of it to further seal it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.